Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome to a nightmare week on iRacing. We're in the F3 at Imola and this is the first of 4 races I've attempted, all of which have been absolute disaster zones. This race lasted all of 30 seconds for me as there's a mess in a T1 and unfortunately I end up getting tagged and put into the gravel. On to race 2 then, and we've made it a kilometre or so further into the race this time, but I'm struggling following an erratic driver up ahead and then I make a horrible mistake of my own, braking too late and then losing it under acceleration. Another race over. Race 3 and we've made it to lap 8. We're riding on board with the driver behind me on track who doesn't take account of the fact that we're running in traffic, and bang, he gives me a big clout from behind. It wrecked his race, my car was essentially undrivable, and a few corners later I stack it into the barrier. Too much damage, I was done. And so as I headed into my 4th race of the week, I was not optimistic. We're in a very strong top split here with 28 cars on the grid, and while surely I'm due some better luck, all the evidence suggests that this combo is just one of the most chaotic of the season. We're car 24, but we've qualified in 18th, and I'm determined to try and hold my own and move forward in the race. Let's see if I can do it. Right then, we're waiting for the lights and I've got to say I'm filled with dread here as to what's going to follow into T1 as we're going to go green and we are underway, and we've got a good gap ahead of us as one driver was starting from pit lane, and now I've just got to focus my eyes up ahead and already there's tyre smoke and there's one car off to the left hand side as 2 drivers came together. I'm going to take it nice and easy into the opening corner. We've got one driver down my inside here, we're side by side through the chicane for the first time. I'm going to give him plenty of space on my inside, so it looks like we've gained a spot, but then we've lost a spot to Donk, who slots in ahead of us, and then it's single file all the way through the Villeneuve chicane. Everybody, at least for now, seems to be taking it nice and sensibly. We're into the hairpin then for the first time. Cars concertinaing together. We come very close to Donk's rear wing there, but we managed to get through unscathed, and now we're climbing up the hill and into the middle sector of the lap. So the very first test we've managed to pass. We've gotten through cleanly on the opening set of corners, but the field is still very closely bunched together. We've got to take account of that as we come through Agua Minerale for the first time. Very, very slow through here. And look at that, Donk has got a very poor exit. We're now through and alongside him, heading into the chicane for the very first time here. It's going to be very tight. We're side by side. I'm going to keep my nose in, and oh my goodness, we come very close to making contact. Thankfully, we both get through. I had to give him an extra bit of space on the inside there. Donk not prepared to give up the position. We're now coming down the hill and into Ravazza for the first time. We think better of diving down the inside, but look at that behind us. Keeble, very opportunistic. He's got a very high rating. He's coming through the field. He makes the pass. And so actually, as we end lap 1, although we started 18th on the grid, we're going to be in 19th position. We've lost a spot, but at least we've kept ourselves in one piece. The car is intact, and that is more than can be said for a couple of drivers off the start. Let's take a look at it. Even Spitz is at the heart of this incident. He gets a poor start and then he comes together with Jonathan Friedar, who ends up spearing off the track and amazingly keeps control to not collect more cars. And then before we get back to the live action, on lap 2 we would gain 2 more spots. That's Michael Turkelson heading off into the barrier, and then a little bit later in the lap, Dennis Gierix would end up running wide in the gravel. He rejoins, but we gained a position. On to lap 3 then, and we're continuing to follow Jerry Donk very closely, but we're coming through Agua Minerale. We get a slightly compromised run through the corner, and that is going to invite pressure from Benjamin Tisserand behind, who's putting on the pressure. I'm going to now have to cover off the inside into the chicane. That's going to pinch me on the apex just a little bit, but we're able to deter him from sticking his nose down the inside, and actually it looks like we've gotten a better exit as we're heading down the hill towards the Ravazzas and the end of another lap here at Imola. plenty of drivers within our sights up ahead. I just need this race to calm down a little bit and start putting some laps together. But we're on to the start-finish straight, and unfortunately it looks as if we're going to come under attack once again. Tisserand is well within my slipstream here. He's closing right in as we cross the start-finish line. He's going to be alongside well before the braking zone into the chicane for the first corner here. And yes, look at that, he's well ahead. So I'm going to have to concede the position and just make sure that we're able to stick close to him. And well, by the time we got to lap 5, he'd already overtaken Jerry Donk up ahead, and that has brought me closer once again to the driver up ahead. We're going to try and sneak one down the inside into the hairpin. We're side by side on exit. It looks as if he's got slightly more momentum than I do as we're climbing the hill here. Very tricky left-hander to go too wide in here. I'm going to just ease off slightly to give him space on the outside, but that gives me a better exit. We surely can't go side by side through Agua Minerale. I'm going to have to concede the position, and unfortunately I wasn't able to make that overtake stick. Oh, but he's had a terrible exit. That has boxed me right in. Look in the rear view mirror, now off to the left-hand side. Jirix is going to be alongside me and actually has taken the position. So unfortunately for me, I've gone from trying to challenge to gain a position to losing one, and we're slipping back in the field here. This is beginning to get frustrating. I had a chance there to try and make the move on Donk, and unfortunately, because I wasn't able to make it stick, Jirix very opportunistically capitalised. He's trying now to get past Donk as well as we're coming through onto the start-finish straight once again. Maybe I've got a chance here of getting this position back. I'm tucked nicely into his slipstream here. I'm going to have a huge overspeed. I'm going to peel to the left-hand side here and try and get alongside, but oh, he's blocked me. He's blocked me, and I was so close to getting up onto the grass there. That could have been a huge accident, and now I'm under attack from behind as well. That was a really close call there, as very nearly I was pitched onto the grass verge. Let's take a look at it from the chopper cam here. Was this just a step too far in defending here as a block? Oh, it's 50-50. The track kinks here in a really deceptive way, so it can make these sorts of incidents look worse. Oh, I think that's right on the margins of being acceptable. Let me know what you think in the comments. But we're on to lap 7 then, and I've dropped just slightly back from the cars up ahead, and once again I'm coming under pressure from behind. That's Harley Keeble, whose 3k rating suggests to me he's not going to be hanging around and trying to get past me here. We're stuck right the way down the order here still, and there he goes side by side. He's surely going to make easy work of this into T1. I'm not going to be overly aggressive in my defence here. There's no point. If anything, I've got a chance maybe to hang on to his rear wing if he's able to catch the cars up ahead. So there he goes, he's through. Can I now use him to try and catch up to Jirix and Donk up ahead, who are slugging it out? They've been fighting for the last couple of laps, and look at that as we're going through the Villeneuve chicane. Everybody is concertinaing together a bit here. We've got Jirix on the outside of the hairpin, Donk on the inside. And look at this, Keeble's going to try and get past. Oh, but there's been a huge shunt. Donk lost it, and Keeble had nowhere to go. Let's take another look at it here as we're coming through on board with Keeble, and that is a huge accident for both. We've gained 2 positions out of it as we rejoin the live action on lap 11, and we've got another driver off on the gravel. That's Langerfeld, and as he's rejoining, bang, he's come together with Jirix, and that's going to be 2 positions gained. But man, this race is just so chaotic. It seems nobody's capable of just stringing a few clean laps together, and we've got another driver off. That's Benjamin Tisserand. He's looped it. He looks like he's rejoining, but that's 3 positions gained in a very short space of track. Let's take a look at the Langerfeld incident on replay, and oh, they just cross paths. I think Langerfeld has to be responsible for his rejoin, but it didn't look like Jirix was prepared to lift at all. You can see the incident. Oh, and that's them together. I think ultimately that is Langerfeld's responsibility, but both drivers paid a heavy price for it. And then Tisserand just clips the curb. That's enough to unsettle the car. He loops it. Other drivers manage to avoid him. I'm able to speed on past here, but then look behind. Another driver approaching, and bang, that puts him into the gravel. That's Jamie Willits. Let's take a look at it from his view, and oh my goodness, he couldn't possibly react to Tisserand moving across the track like that. That would give Willits damage and ultimately would mean I finally had some breathing space on track. And as we then come on to the very last lap of the race, I'd managed to string together some consistent lap times, and we're going to come home in 14th position. By no means a spectacular finish, decent enough in the context of a high strength of field, and we're going to get a bump to both my safety rating and my I rating, recovering some of the I rating that I've lost this week. But I'll be honest with you, I wasn't that satisfied with the race. I haven't really enjoyed the races this week at all, because it's all just felt like a game of survival rather than proper racing. It has been so chaotic, so I'm grateful that I've managed to get a cleanish race in here, but at no point did I really feel like I was able to push and properly race other drivers. If nothing else though, hopefully it's provided an enjoyable video for you, and if you have enjoyed it, then I think you'll really like the one that's on screen now.